I would stroke her bright feathers, and I'd watch her fly free across the still of the dawn. And if peace were
Hold the mic.
a mountain, we'd gather around her to bathe in her silence, her power, her call. If wisdom could sing or whisper his secrets, eternally teaching the ways of the free. In my mind I can see them, I hear them, and I feel them. Full of peace and wisdom are all part of me. If love has her freedom and peace her expression, surely wisdom will grow like a flower in bloom. The seed has been planted and tended and watered by the prayers of the hopeful and the tears of the brave. We long to return to that place of still waters and sit on the banks under some shady tree. In my mind I can see it, I hear it, and I feel it. And love, peace, and wisdom are all that we need. Some call me a dreamer, some will call me a seeker, one who follows the stars on a quest for the truth. But every believer holds a deep Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
It is so nice to be with all of you, and here we are going deep as we possibly can into the depth of soul consciousness. And I think pretty much everyone who is with us has some background in the Raj Yoga meditation practice, and you know the idea of soul consciousness. Am I right?
Yes.
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 So what we want to do when we think about going into the depth, what would be shallow and what would be the meaning of going deep? So shallow in this context would be that we've heard about soul consciousness, we've heard about the description of soul consciousness, so we understand it. We would say that we understand it with the intellect, and we think about it, we have thought about it for quite some time, and yet we don't really have complete clarity about whether when we are experiencing soul consciousness, or when we think we're experiencing it, or when we think we're practicing it, are we really doing it? And so what I wanted to do today is to take us slowly, slowly deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And let's see how far we can go. And of course, we will do some meditation together, and we'll do some thinking together. So we want to start with the comparison and contrast of body consciousness and soul consciousness. And extremely shallow would be, I think I'm a body, or I think I'm a soul. That's the shallowest aspect of this contrast. And we want to go deeper into that. And it has a little bit to do with feeling. It has also to do with insight. And it has to do with deep thought. One of the meanings of body consciousness is ego. So if you have ego, how do you know you have ego? Mostly you don't, but other people know because they feel it, they sense it, because there's a different vibration. Now, we also, when we're studying about soul consciousness, we learn that there is gross consciousness, and then varying degrees of subtle consciousness, all the way to a stage which we call incorporeal state, or that is really a very deep level of soul consciousness. There are a few signs of soul consciousness, and there are tests of soul consciousness. When everything is going nicely, you can think of yourself as a soul, and you can think about being pure, essentially pure, peaceful, loving, blissful, powerful. These are the quintessential elements of the soul. And you know that the soul is conscious, and you say, I am a soul. But when you say, I am a soul, consciously or unconsciously, what you're doing is thinking of a soul in a physical way. Because when you put the word a for something, it's an object. What is really a being? It is so subtle, so difficult to really conceptualize, but yet this is what we want to do. We want to try to feel and think and understand and get insight. What is a being? The soul is genderless, so we cannot say I am male or I am female. So that means we have to think of ourselves. I am point of light, which doesn't have any gender. You do not have a race or a culture or a color or a religion. This is a factor of the body. So think of yourself, okay, how do I think of myself different and separate from my body? One interesting practice for soul consciousness that Baba used to get everyone to do is to position yourself, your sense of self, a couple of inches behind your eyes. So just try that for a minute. And just consider yourself to be a point of light, which is someone, not something. And there's a single self, a single point of light, and you go back from your eyes 2-3 inches so that you're positioning yourself more inside your head, and get a sense of a distance between yourself and your eyes. And then the things that you can see are on the outside of your eyes, and you yourself are behind your eyes. So the fact that you can see is because you have eyes. If you close your eyes, you just see black. You open them, you see images. Some people, they wear glasses because of short sight or long sight. If you take off your glasses and you're short-sighted or astigmatic, you see everything a bit, very much out of focus. And then you put your glasses on and it's okay again. So you have a sense that your visual perception is because of your instruments. So your eyes are instruments. Your body is an object. And I, the soul, give life to the body. So then think of yourself, okay, I am a living energy, which is just me. I never stop being me. In this body or not in this body, I'm always me. Who am I? It's a deep question. So keep turning deeper and deeper onto the inside. And now think about your ears as your instruments for hearing. The soul, the dot on the inside of the body. When you pay attention to what you can see, you're using your eyes. When you pay attention to what you can hear, you're using your ears. You mostly use your eyes and ears together. Now, another sense organ is your skin. Through your skin, you can feel texture. Maybe your hands are laid on a piece of clothing. Just feel for a moment that texture of your clothing, and that the soul feels the texture through the fingers. And you can just go deep inside of yourself and feel your clothing on your body. You can feel your skin, and then you can feel what your skin is sensing. Your skin can sense temperature. It may be warm or cold. If you have skin, you can sense it. If not, you cannot. Inside your mouth is your tongue. Just feel your tongue. And with your tongue is helpful for speaking and for tasting. If you really want to taste, you need your nose as well. And just feel yourself on the very inside of your body, feeling your body, and then feeling what you can detect through your sense organs. And then withdraw yourself, come onto the inside of your body and think, I, the soul, am seeing through these eyes. So the soul is seeing, the soul is hearing, the soul can feel things through the skin, texture, temperature. I, the soul, speak through this mouth. To speak, you use your tongue, your facial muscles, your breath. All of these things are involved in speaking. And the more you draw yourself within, the more you become aware that when you are inside the body, you're a bit closer to this state of silence, which is part of this word, Om Shanti. So when you say Om Shanti, you mean three things. I'm at peace, I am silent, and I am still. You come into the body and you make the body work, or you withdraw from the body, and then nothing is happening through the body that is according to your will. Of course, you're breathing, digesting, you're able to hear and see, even if you're not paying attention to something. So I, the soul, focus my attention on one area of my visual field. So for example, you can focus, you're seeing me on the video, focus on the flower that's in the middle. I just focus on that. I, the soul, focus on that flower. Then move your focus to another flower, and then another flower, and then the fourth flower. And you can see, you can feel very well that when you're deep inside, you're actually moving your attention, your focus from one flower to the other, to the other, to the other. And all of this is happening from deep within. Your eyes are not focusing, your soul is focusing the eyes. Or you can focus on my badge that you can see, my badge. Then you can focus on somewhere outside the video and just turn your head and focus there and then come back. And you begin to really feel that everything you do is done by the soul, by I, the soul, through the body. And when you practice this, you're doing everything that you do very consciously, very intentionally. And when you're in body consciousness, you do all these things without noticing. The purpose of practicing while noticing these things is so that you gain more and more control over what you do. Why do we learn about soul consciousness in Raj Yoga? We learn it because we want to perform pure karma. And while there's nothing else going on, there's nothing to stop us from practicing these things. Then you may find yourself in a situation where external forces pull your attention and you are unable to be independent of these forces that pull your attention. For example, if there's a very loud bang, it'll pull your attention, and then you will need a few seconds to come back to soul consciousness. Another example is someone starts shouting at you. I'm sure you've all experienced them. They get into an argument with you. You start automatically defending yourself, and you get pulled into this body conscious interaction. And then when it's all over, you realize, oh, I lost it. I got pulled in. I wasn't soul conscious. I lost my temper, this and that. Okay, this is normal. So while you don't have any distractions, it's very easy to do these exercises and turn within. But we also need to strengthen it. And why we learn Raj Yoga in the context of everyday life and people and places and work and home and center and all these things is because we need to practice these things in adverse conditions. Because when we have adverse conditions, we have to actually resist that adversity, that other pull. And we practice like this. You are sometimes successful and sometimes not successful. Don't worry about that. The point is to notice. So soul consciousness is all about noticing. What consciousness am I in? Where is my attention going? Is it going where I want it to go? And when you start doing this, you will also notice habits of mind. For example, when you go into a shopping mall, not that you can at the moment because I think they're all closed, but you remember what it's like to go in a shopping mall. And shopping malls are specially designed to get you to not look straight in front of you, but to look sideways and look in the windows and see what items are displayed. You have clothing shops, you have sports shops, you have for sunglasses and other kinds of glasses, you have some eating places, you have toy shops, you have electronic shops. And the purpose of these shops is to get you to see them. They want to distract you so that you are thinking about those items. Maybe you'll buy it today, maybe you'll buy it tomorrow. But what they want to do is attract you. So one practice is to go shopping and only focus on the thing that you intend to buy and not get pulled by this opportunist buying, or I think there's maybe another word for it, this impulse buying. You see something, you get attracted and you get the impulse to buy it, but you didn't actually need it. And so this is body consciousness, when you get something that you don't need. You can be going shopping. Maybe you're in the grocery store and you don't remember what you need. And so you go up and down the aisles with this idea in your mind that I will notice what I need and I will take that. And if there is something that I don't need, but it's attractive, I'll be aware that I don't need it, so I won't pick it up. But there may be something that I forgot I need. And when I see it, I'll remember I need it. So that's soul conscious. The other is body conscious, when you get attracted to something you don't need. Soul conscious is you see, yes, I need one of those, and so you get it. That means you're differentiating in your karma between need and greed, you see. So greed is when you get something that you don't need, and need is when you identify what you do need and you fulfill that need, because that is correct karma. So correct karma is not only to do with the experience of purity, peace, power, love, and bliss, but it's also very much to do with, is it necessary? Yeah, see? Then take it to another level. Your relationship with people. When you look at another human being, what do you focus on? And every human being has basically eyes, nose, mouth, ears, teeth, hair, the rest of the body with varying types of clothing. Do you get, does your vision get drawn to something of the body, or does your vision go to the person? Because you're communicating with the soul. I, the soul, am looking at, speaking to this being. And so you don't really pay that much attention on the body. You pay attention on the person. What is a person? Who is a person? Your drishti. We speak about soul conscious drishti. So if you see someone in your home, do you see them or do you see what they're doing? Because there's a difference. When you see what a person is doing, you may like it or not like it. We may make a comment about it. And if you're seeing the person, who the person is first, and what they're doing second, that's something different. When you meet a person in soul consciousness, you meet through the eyes. And you greet, not necessarily with a word, but there is a connection with the eyes, soul to soul. The eyes are said to be the windows of the soul. So you see the person with your third eye through the eyes of the person, and you're looking right through to sense the being who is behind those eyes. And this is the person that you are in relation to and in connection with. And what their behavior is secondary. What they're doing, we will say from the point of view of Gyan, what they're doing is their part in drama. Whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, that's what they're doing, that's their role. And mostly, when we're body consciousness, we just see the role. We don't see the soul. But the practice of soul consciousness is to be very much connected with our own soul, internalized. See if you can mute that mic, which just came on. So see your own soul, feel your own soul, go deep within, and then see the other being. And try and do it quite deliberately. It might seem funny in just normal relationships, but can practice this with others who know that that's what you're doing. That's okay. And try to feel that this is the person and this is who I'm relating to. What they're doing is secondary. Mostly what a person is doing, you have to pay attention to it if necessary. So your intellect and your mind together will signal to you if it's necessary. For example, if you're in the kitchen, there are several people in the kitchen and they're cooking. They may be cooking different dishes. So you're moving around each other. You don't want to bang into each other. So you need to get a sense of where a person's going, how they're going, what they have to do, so that you have a choreography around the other people who are doing work in a limited space without getting in their way, and without them getting in your way. So this intuitive sense of moving around people in space can be soul conscious or body conscious. When you have a sense of where a person's going, how their movement is, so that you move around them in a good harmonious flow, this is soul conscious. If you bang into them, there's body consciousness. And it will be said that your yoga isn't right. So if your yoga is right, there's an expression, your yoga is right. Your yoga is right when you're moving around harmoniously and there's no jarring, there's no colliding or anything like this. Accidents happen because of inattention. So in body consciousness, we get easily distracted, we lose our focus of attention, and then an accident can happen. This, especially when you're driving, and this is why it is said, you know, don't use your phone when driving. And, you know, if there's a big commotion in the car when driving, you have to be really focused on driving. And if the commotion is too much, stop the car and deal with it. But don't try dealing with it while you're driving, because the risk of your attention going to the commotion is big and you can get an accident. Someone who is soul conscious will very rapidly prioritize where their attention needs to go. And your attention can shift very fast. You know, there's one expression that we hear in the Murli, and in English, it is intense effort. In Hindi, tivra purusharat. And if you look at the word tivra, usually it is written with tivra gati, so that means high speed. And so tivra purusharat means high speed effort. So to me, high speed effort is not necessarily something intense where you have to really focus hard or be really sort of scrunched up. I'm being intense here. No, it means that you are fast, very fast in your capacity to notice what's the highest priority, second, third, fourth, fifth. And you can jump very quickly from one thing to another in such a way that it's accurate. You don't miss anything. You don't miss a beat, they say. You do everything right, and still everything remains in balance. This is called fast effort making. And if you're body conscious, you will be distracted by, excuse me, by unnecessary things. In soul consciousness, you will not be distracted by a distraction, but your attention will go to where it's necessary, when it's necessary, for how long it's necessary, and stop when you have to stop. So this is soul consciousness in action. Another very important aspect of soul consciousness is you will be aware about the feelings and state of consciousness and expectations and anticipations of the people that you're interacting with. So, for example, someone comes into the house and they are upset about something, you'll immediately see that and give that priority. Somebody may be angry about something, but they cannot express their anger to the person or situation that is making them angry, but they'll express it on you. You need to immediately understand, oh, they're not angry with me, they're angry with somebody else, but they're expressing it because I'm safe, so it's okay. And then immediately you will understand this right away, and you will not take it personally, but you will just be there for them and make it safe for them to express their anger or frustration. And as soon as they have let it out, then you reset the moment in drama and get on with where you would like it to go with that person. And this is really helpful in human relationships. Sometimes there's a person who is scared. You need to know that. You need to feel it. So when you're soul conscious, your intuitive powers are nicely awakened and you can just tell what's going on. Maybe there are several people in a room and you can just feel each person and know what's happening with them. And then on that basis, you know what you should do, who you should pay attention to. And sometimes there may be something that you're planning to do, you're focused on that, but circumstances don't allow it. As soon as you notice that circumstances are not allowing it, you have to immediately let go. Whatever you wanted to do, whatever you'd planned to do, whatever everyone had agreed, that's okay. But circumstances dictate otherwise. If you're body conscious, you try to force it and make it that way. If you're soul conscious, you'll immediately not do that and immediately get a sense that, okay, circumstances are different. I have to adjust to those circumstances. This is why Baba gives us the power of accommodation, which is also sometimes called the power of adjustment. And we have to adjust to those circumstances and realize that what I had planned today to do cannot happen. So we have to immediately let it go. And then come back to our soul conscious stage and say, okay, this is right. I cannot force this thing. I cannot make circumstances do what I want. There are times when you call the shots, and drama, knowledge of drama will let you know when it's open for you to call the shots, but it will also let you know when it's closed, and you have to bow to circumstances and say, okay, whatever it is, and immediately reset your priorities and be very, very flexible. And if everything that you wanted to do has to stop, then stop. In body consciousness, you would get irritated, angry, you would criticize people for not doing what they said they would do. You might even criticize circumstances, that why did this have to happen? This is not right, da, 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 da. All this is body consciousness. And it also means that we haven't taken our soul consciousness to the point of connecting it into the drama. We know the drama is predestined. There is this expression, bani banai ban raha hai. It's already there and it is getting made. So that means that there are moments when the destiny of the drama is dominant and we have to accept. And there are other moments when drama says, okay, let's go do something, I'm ready, okay, let's go. Then you have to be fast and seize the time and do what has to be done. If you're body consciousness, you'll miss those moments because there'll be confusion. If you're soul consciousness, you'll catch it. And sometimes it is said in Gyan that there is a lot of merit in catching the signals. There are signals. Sometimes there are signals by Baba, sometimes signals by other BKs, sometimes signals by drama. So when you're very present for the present moment, then your antenna are up and you can feel what are the different signals that are going on, and you can respond to the signals that need to be responded to. You can disregard the signals that are trying to distract you away from doing the right thing. So we need this, what Baba calls power of discrimination or discernment, to really sense, okay, and all these signals that are coming, what do I have to do and what priority, and then finish. And then at the end of all of this, I think another very important aspect of soul consciousness, because we are in Raj Yoga, two things are going on, two very important things. One is we want to have remembrance of Baba. Second one, we want to have accurate karma. These two are our main things. And we practice soul consciousness partly so that we can have remembrance of Baba, because we cannot remember Baba in body consciousness. First step, soul consciousness. Second step, remember Baba. But also first step, soul consciousness. Second step, perform karma. So we try to be as much as possible in soul consciousness, but our default position is body conscious. So whenever you are paying attention on yourself, you'll immediately bring yourself into soul consciousness naturally, but then you can't keep it up for very long. So you practice to stay soul consciousness for longer and longer before you kind of fade back into body consciousness, which is our default position. As soon as you notice that you're disconnected from your soul consciousness, then noticing reconnects you, and you reconnect to Baba. A very important aspect of soul consciousness is how you interpret what's going on, because there are all kinds of things going on, and those things can take you away from soul consciousness, God consciousness, or the very same things can take you closer, depending on how you interpret it. So when you decide, okay, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to really practice being soul conscious, and I'm going to see all the scenes that I see when I'm on my walk and see how the different scenes can be used to connect me to Baba. And so we're looking at not the things that are there in front of us, but we're assigning meaning to them. Because the way the mind works is by association. So for example, if I tell you a walk that I very often do, so I will go outside, put my shoes on, check that I have the key to come back in, if I have my mask, if I have a hat, if it's too sunny, all the right arrangements, and then I will go out, and I usually go to the Golden Gate Park, and so I have to cross a couple of roads, and I have to look out for what's going on. It may be a very sunny day with maybe a few clouds. So you think, you know, the sun of knowledge, and I'm a cloud, and I am, you know, drawing knowledge into me from the ocean of knowledge. So you can kind of take a very ordinary situation and assign meaning to it so that your mind starts a process of association that takes you to Baba very naturally, but at the same time, it's conscious and conscientious, directing your mind to use the things that would normally take you off in other directions to take you to Baba. You may see a really beautiful tree and think, you know, the tree of souls, the kalpa tree, the leaves on the tree. My position in the tree is I'm in the roots. I'm connected with the seed, you know, and then after a while that finishes, and then you see a bicycle. And lots of people are riding bicycles, some of them children, some of them all dressed up like Spider-Man, riding bicycles at very high speed. And you will see people with different masks, and you will think, yes, I'm an actor, I play a role, I have a mask, but then my face is a mask, and my different performances are masks, and I am going around the cycle. Time, what is time? Sometimes fast. And Baba said in the Murli, when it is the end of time and everyone is detached from the body, then we can have destruction. So I'm cycling along to the end of time. Is this the end of time? So like this, you can understand that soul consciousness is very much part of the process that takes you into a stream of thinking that gets you to come to Baba. You know, we have this word destination. You hear it in the Murli quite often. The destination of karma, the destination of yoga, the destination of soul consciousness, like this destination. So where are you going? Not just with your feet, but where are you going in your thoughts? Because the thing that is quite difficult is to ensure that your mind is going where you want it to go. So you have to understand your mind very well, and it's very subtle. But you know that it works by association. So you have to feed the mind. This is why we have murlis in the mornings. Feed the mind with all this. And when you listen to the murli with meaning and try to experience the meaning and the feeling of the different points, it goes into your memory. And then when you see something, it's easy to get the mind to associate back to the Murli, or associate through that thing back to Baba, as opposed to some distraction, which is the normal way. Our thinking in body consciousness is that you go from a point and you go further and further and further away. And eventually you can't remember what you were supposed to be thinking about because you got so far off track. Soul conscious thinking is circular thinking. So something comes in your mind, you set it on a circular track so that by the time you have thought about that thing fully and looked at all the things that are connected with that thing, you arrive back at your point of departure, but you have given full thought to that theme of your thinking. So when we're meditating, we're doing many, many different things. And one of the things is churning. Churning means getting the mind to be fed with the murli. So the mind takes the murli, says, yes, I know this, I know this, I know this, yes, good, fine, fine. And then you get a point which is somehow relevant or new or strikes you. Take that point which strikes you. Okay, it struck me for a reason. I need to go into it. Write it down. Say, okay, I'm going to practice this point on my walk or while I wash the dishes or something like this, where you're doing some automatic activity and your mind has a certain amount of free space in it. Then think about it. What does this mean? Insights are when you catch the deeper meaning of what you're thinking about. So you say, okay, I, the soul, studying Baba's knowledge, I want to understand what is the meaning of time and the end of time and timeless. Baba is timeless. We're time bound. Or think of all the things you can think of to do with time and gather it together in a bunch, and then use that fuel to carry you deep into what is the meaning of time, and make comparison and contrast between soul conscious time, chronological time, kairos time, end of time, beginning of time, timeless, spaceless. All of this will carry you to a deeper understanding of yourself, the soul. And when you have this in your mind very clearly, very steadily, this is me, the soul. Come into drama, action through the body, make sure it's the best, then come back to your ground of being, which is Om Shanti, and just stop. And just feel yourself. Go back to that stillness. 0 point. Just be a point. I completed my performance and now I'm a point of light. In the great region of light. Just be still. And allow the resonance of the past action to fade. Create space between one action and another action. Slow down. Be still. Be quiet. Be connected with Baba. Take power from Baba. Feel the radiance in your soul expanding. Recalibrate yourself. Create balance. Everything to do with the last activity has faded away. It's just I, the soul, and God, the Supreme Soul. And then go back into the drama and see, okay, what is next? Look around and drama will see you looking at it. You will see what's next. Do I have to do something? Shall I just watch from the side? Is there some duty I have? Let me see what's there. And then when you feel you know what you have to do, go into it, action through the body, perform your performance within the appropriate time frame, and then again stop for a moment at the end of that, creating these stoppages in between your activities is really good, because you let everything from the past activity fade so that it doesn't bleed into what you're going to do next. It only takes a few seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. Even though everything is going fast and everybody wants you to do everything before yesterday, take a minute anyway, it's not going to hurt. And then you feel more soul conscious for a longer time. And then when you want to sit for meditation, it comes easy because you kept yourself as close as possible to the consciousness of the soul. And then when you're close to soul consciousness, you're close to the dimension of the spirit, that means you're close to Baba, you're close to the soul world. So you're dipping into the material world as a soul, and you can pull out and then dip in again. And this helps you a lot to consolidate your stage, to feel the feeling of I'm the soul, to look at the other actors dispassionately and compassionately, so that we know what we need to do moment by moment. And when we need to do nothing, just be, and let that be okay. This also allows us to be less of a prey to circumstances that are always trying to pull our attention away from ourselves and away from our focus of attention, our source, which is Baba. So I will stop there, and let's just practice this for a few minutes. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be very happy to take your questions or your comments or something like this. So just go within, pull yourself back from the eyes. Really feel I am a being of light. I am me forever. Bodiless, genderless, raceless, just pure consciousness. At peace with myself, loving, in my own power, in sync with the drama, connected to Baba, feeling that stillness that comes from God. Feeling that energy and light that comes. And gently reconnect the body, soul conscious in the body, coming into action. Om Shanti. So if there's anyone who would like to post any chat or any question that you may have, or if anybody would like to say something.
Om Shanti, sister. Thank you so much for explaining soul conscious and body consciousness.
Thank you.
I have a question. When I started practicing soul conscious, my whole attention goes into the middle of the brain, as you said, it's back of your eyes. It is not on the forehead. I can experience the soul looking through the eyes. My question is how the soul and the forehead are connected. Why I am saying every time the soul is sitting on the forehead, and what is the...
You know, if you think of the soul as a physical object, you'll have this problem, but think of it differently. At the moment, you're using either your smartphone or your computer to see this telecast. I don't know what we call this, Zoomcast. And you are maybe a foot or two away from your instrument, but you're controlling it. And you know, your soul doesn't have a little space in your body where it sits and operates and everything, because the soul is non-physical. And so you can be, you know, in the center of the forehead. Does that mean on the edge of the forehead or further in or what? Those are all physical places, but you're somewhere around here. It's better to think of the soul as associated with the body, so that the soul is getting everything done through through thought. And so it's not really about feeling yourself where you are in your body. It's more like using these exercises to give yourself the sense that I am not this body, but I am making this body work, you see. So you can be behind the eyes, on the edge of the forehead. You can be in 100 places at once without it being a problem, because thought is very fast. And we're doing these exercises primarily to let us understand that I am not this body, but that this body is moved by me. And I experience things that are in the material world through this body. So it's all about learning to interact with your body and with what's beyond the body in the consciousness of being a soul. You know, sometimes Baba says in the Murli, consider yourself to be a soul. Apne aap ko atma samajh kar karma karo, you see. Think about yourself as a soul and then get action done through the body. So it's like that. Yeah. These are practices.
Yes.
Okay, now there's something posted. I have to look at it with my glasses because it's too small. Okay. All right. There's one which is one question which is saying, you know, there's so many things that are online. You could do 8 hours yoga a day. You could follow Shrimat 24 hours a day. You can read the Murli 500 times a day. And all of these, consider them as suggestions. BKs are really, really good at giving you enough to fill your to-do list with enough to do in one day for about 6 weeks in one day. You can't do it. And don't try. But what you should do is look at all the different suggestions if you want. You don't have to even look at all of them. But just see, okay, these are all the suggestions. Now, what will I do? If you want to sit for meditation, you want to do quality meditation. Reading the Murli more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times a day is quite good. See what you're already doing, and then see if you can increase it just a little bit, 5%, even if you do that, you're doing a lot. If you try and do all the suggestions that everybody has, you'll actually make yourself crazy and you won't actually become more soul conscious or more yogi or more anything except more irritated. So there's no point doing that. But be judicious and also see inside yourself, okay, today I can give myself, an hour, 2 hours to really focus on my spiritual practice. What will I do? Maybe I'll see if I can read the Murli a few times. Maybe I'll go for a walk in meditation. Maybe I'll sit for half an hour more than I normally do, you see. And then at the end of that, you will say to yourself, that was doable. The worst thing is to give yourself something to do that's not realistic and not practical. You have to be really down to earth and practical if you want to be soul conscious, because the other will just make you stressed. And there's no real value in making yourself stressed for no very good reason, just because somebody made a long list and you decided that you had to do it all. No, that's not good understanding of the way to use all these thousands of suggestions that are coming. Your spiritual practice is between you and yourself, you and Baba. And then all the BKs, including myself, will tell you do this, do that, do the other. But you have to say, okay, I will do this and I will do that. And that'll be enough. And let that be okay. Because if you stretch yourself too far, you'll just break, which is pointless. And don't let yourself get sleep deprived. If you're meditating and it's not working very well, stop doing that. Do something else and go back to it after a little while. This is how Dadi Janki used to teach us, because she was very well aware that there can be these endless suggestions. And in fact, I remember one time when someone gave the same question to Dadi and said, Dadi, you said we should do this and we should do this and we should do this and this and this and this. And I can't. Dadi said, oh, well, it's only suggestions. Don't have to do all of it. Just do what you want. It's just suggestions. Really understand this part, yeah? Okay, now lots of other things came up. Just a sec. Okay. How to deal with Maya, how to deal with fear. Fear. A lot of people have questions about fear. So let me take up fear. When we make the list of all the 5 vices, and Ravan has 10 heads, so there's actually 10 vices. So you have the 5 masculine vices, which are the usual ones, greed, anger, lust, attachment, ego. And then there's the feminine ones, which are not limited to females by any means, likewise with the masculine ones. And one of them is fear, slander, hatred, laziness, jealousy. These are the other 5. So fear is listed as one of those vices. Now, you cannot just give up fear. That's not realistic. When you experience fear, you have a number of possibilities how to respond to that experience, because fear is something that arises in your feelings. How does fear get there? It gets there through sense perception. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are doing at the moment, being locked in and locked down, is they're watching TV. And what does the TV tell you? It says, as far as possible, you should be as full of fear as possible. And Baba will say, maybe not. we have to be responsible. So responsible means wear a mask because the coronavirus is carried on the air. So if you wear a mask, then neither will you send out anything to anyone, nor will anything somebody else sends out come into your lungs. So wear a mask, wear gloves. Good idea, wear gloves when you're going out. And what I've noticed in the different stores where you can go is when you pick up a cart, very often the people in the store will take one of these wipes and sanitize it. And so you can use this sanitizing liquid, and you can create your own. This is also possible. And so that you're responsible and eat well. Make sure that you are looking after yourself, take vitamins. All these things will create more immunity, more resilience to any kind of opportunistic bug which might be floating around in your vicinity. One thing people are really afraid of is losing their jobs. And we do our best, but these are real possibilities. And I think that the government is sending checks to people who don't have jobs, and there are various incentives for creating jobs for people who don't have jobs. So I think we also need to really care for each other, look out for each other. You can't look out for everyone, but you can look out for people who are in your contact, people who are close to you. Within the BK family, we need to just look out for each other and whoever we know and who's around, because one of the things that is really upsetting people is the feeling of isolation, the feeling of loneliness, the feeling of abandonment. So I've noticed in many communities, like for example in France, the other day I was doing a talk like this for the brothers and sisters in France. And it was 8 p.m. over there, much earlier over here. And as the clock struck 8 p.m., everyone started singing. And you could hear them in the streets, and they all start singing. And this is a way for people who are in lockdown in their apartments or whatever, come out, open up their windows and sing together. And it gives people the feeling of community, the feeling of not being alone, not being all on their own, not being nobody's going to look after me. But this feeling of community is actually a really important thing. And I think one thing that Baba emphasizes for us is, you know, one of the meanings of Sahaj Raj Yoga. Sahaj means easy, okay, but there's another meaning which I like very much, and that is yoga is practiced in the context of people, and not like sannyas, which is yoga practiced without people. And so from people you get all kinds of trouble, but also you love them, they love you, you take care of them, they take care of you. This feeling of community, this feeling of belonging. A lot of people want to feel that they belong, that they are part of. And I think that, you know, realistically, the practices that and the knowledge that Baba has given us has made us able to handle this coronavirus thing very well. We've been able to take good advantage of it personally, as an organization, or as a gathering, a class members gathering. And we've found tons of opportunities for doing service, tons of opportunities for doing things together, for having yoga bhattis together, for having discussions, and all kinds of things that have really enriched us. And we are quite fine if we're alone remembering Baba. You're never alone with Baba anyway. But all these treasures that Baba has given us, they're not just only for us, they're also for sharing with others. And now we're using internet enormously, but Baba has often been talking about service through the mind. And so the more we can spread the vibrations, the radiance of Baba's power, Baba's light, Baba's love, put that into the atmosphere. This is really what people need, is a feeling that everything is okay. And from the TV, they get the feeling that nothing is okay. So we need to counterbalance that, because on the TV, they show you always the worst of the worst of the worst, and you don't really get a realistic perspective on what's happening. And this is what creates the fear. So I think if we zoom out, step back, and see, okay, first of all, this is something, this will pass. We don't know how long it's going to go on for, but it will definitely pass. We've already had 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, okay, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, okay. Maybe there'll be a new normal, but we'll deal with it when it comes. Maybe we have to be more creative. Maybe we have to be very economical. There's all sorts of unexpected possibilities, but spending time thinking, what if this, what if that, that's not good, because it'll never be what you think it might be. So don't even bother to do that. Be with Baba, take power from Baba, benefit yourself as much as you possibly can, and let the treasures that you have received from Baba spread. Because we are instruments, and it comes into us and then it goes out to the world. And that is why we're here. That is what we're for. That's why Baba selected us, so that we could be beacons, receivers and transmitters of Baba's qualities and his knowledge. And he really wants us to be embodiments, because people, when they feel uncomfortable, right, they look around and they say, if there's anybody around who's okay, let me see. And what is a BK? A BK means okay. I am okay. You see, and you're smiling and you're managing. And this is very reassuring for other people. So to be the embodiment, and we don't have to say too much, we just be, and then people get something from that. And this is very good service, you know. So let me see what else we have here. Okay, for anybody who wants to rewatch the recording, it has been posted on the chat, so you can go to this little bottom section of your Zoom screen and it tells you where everything is. So you can see that. And let me see if there's some more questions here. One interesting question. How can you do Purusharat if it's not in your destiny? Well, first of all, you don't really know what's in your destiny or not. So put it in and then it'll be in there. You know, it's really very simple. Sometimes you will see somebody else and they're not doing what they could do. Then you say, well, not in their fortune. This is what Baba used to say. Okay, if somebody's not doing, it's not in their fortune. But you wouldn't talk to yourself like that. As soon as you say Purusharat, you start doing Purusharat. You don't say, well, you know, maybe it's not in my destiny, so therefore I can't do Purusharat. No, that's not the way. Just take second by second by second at a time and think, I am a being of light. There's one question about how to have powerful yoga. You know, in Hindi, there is this word vyart, and usually we translate that into English as waste, vyart. And the other word that comes with vyart is samart, and samart is always translated as powerful. So I thought, you know what? In English, waste and powerful are not opposite of each other. So there must be some deeper meaning to this pair of words. And I like to dissect language. It's my hobby. And so if I look at vyart and I dissect the word, art can be understood to mean meaning. So vyart means it doesn't have any meaning. That means it's trivial. And samart, in opposition to vyart, means it is full of significance. So if you forget the word powerful for yoga and just take the expression samart for in terms of its meaning as it's meaningful. So make your yoga meaning-based. Think about something from the Murli which takes you to Baba. Go into the depth of the meaning of that thing and it'll take you to Baba. If you have thoughts like, how can I make effort if it's not in my destiny? That's called vyart, because you haven't quite understood what this sentence means. Put it in your destiny. Bani banai ban raha hai. It's predestined. You don't know what it is. Second to second, you have no idea what's predestined. Be in the present moment and say, okay, let me make some spiritual effort now. Let me think, okay, I'm a soul, I'm a point of light, I'm a being. Think about it and don't give yourself pressure. This is not pressure yoga. Don't be in a pressure cooker because you might burst from overdoing it. Trying too hard, you know, that's a weakness, to try too hard. So give yourself a break. Be easy with yourself and say, yes, this is me. And I'm a spiritual being. And I'm Baba's child. And I want to move forward. But there are plenty of Murlis where Baba says you can't make more effort than is allowed, you know. It's like the drama, sometimes he says the drama makes you make effort, and sometimes the drama will make you make effort only to a certain extent, because you can't make the drama faster than it actually goes. So one of the very important virtues for someone who is practicing Raj Yoga is patience. We have to be very kind and patient with ourselves. I will get there. I'm doing. You can make yourself more subtle. That's always good. Be very patient with the BK world. You know, there's a lot of people moving together. And in any marathon race, there'll be some people who are way ahead and other people who are way behind, and most of the people who are somewhere in the middle. This is normal. And you move, just keep moving one step at a time. And be very patient with Baba, patient with drama. Whatever it is, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. You know, there's some very, very useful little phrases that get taught to us, and this is definitely one that Dadi Janki taught to me to really remember. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And let it be. Worst case scenario, play that Beatles record called Let It Be. It's really quite full of wisdom. Do you know that song? Are you old enough to remember those songs? This is what we grew up on. Anyway, yeah, so don't worry, be happy. It's all okay. Let me see what else we have here. How are sins absolved in yoga? This is quite an interesting question. And maybe we'll make this the last one because I think our time is coming to an end. You know, the word absolution comes from Christianity. And in Christianity, it is said that if you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ and believe in Jesus Christ and confess your sins, then he will absolve them and they will all go away. But Sheep Baba says, actually, in Gyan, we don't really do absolution, we do something different. And so from time to time, you will see this word absolved in the Murli, like almost every day. But I usually change that word from absolve to dissolve or resolve, because what is really a sin? You know, we cannot understand sin in the way that it is understood in bhakti, whether it's Hindu bhakti or Christian bhakti or whatever. A sin is basically a negative karma, which becomes a negative samskara, which you want to sort out. So what do you do? What is a samskara that arises from a negative karma? It is the tendency of that karma to repeat itself. And in Christianity, they don't really look at sin as a series of repeating events, but this as a single event. Whereas the way Baba talks to us about sin, you begin to realize that he's talking about particular activities that you regularly repeat, even though you don't want to, even though it's against your conscience, even though you try not to repeat it, but you repeat it. So the sin is not so much the activity itself, but that you repeat it and you don't want to repeat it. So what do you need to not repeat that thing? You need power. So the reason why a good person does bad things, everyone here is good, right? Are you all good? Yes, must be. But everybody makes mistakes. This is normal. So why do you make a mistake is because you had a moment of weakness. You didn't have a moment of badness, right? And so when you do something in spite of yourself, it's not because you're bad, it's only because you're weak. So what you need is more power, which means you need more meditation. How you increase your meditation, you have to look at what you're already doing and just tweak it a bit, tighten it a bit, increase it a bit so that you get more. And do not put yourself under pressure. So one reason is you don't have enough power. Second reason is that you're not sufficiently attentive to keep yourself in soul consciousness. So two things, you need more power and more time in soul consciousness. So pay more attention. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Let it go. It doesn't matter, you know, because you need to be present for the next second. If you're busy worrying about your sins, you will miss the next second, which means you will not be able to perform powerful or meaningful karma at that next second. Because one very good way to change the direction of your karma is to do what Baba calls punya karma, punya action. So punya karma can be meditation, can be any kind of action which is really coming from the depth of your soul, which is pure, positive, based in powers and virtues. And this is going to give you energy. It's going to give you power. So pure karma gives you power. Paying attention to be soul conscious gives you power. Extra meditation gives you power. And noticing and observing and letting go. If you are somebody who generally feels guilty about everything, then let me recommend to you that if you have to feel guilty about something, don't feel guilty for more than 1 second. 2 seconds is too long. Because what is the guilt feeling? It's just a message from your inner being that says, oops, you know, made a mistake here. Well, pay attention. Okay, yep, got it. Pay attention. That's it. No more guilt than that. Why? Because feeling guilty depletes your energy. It doesn't do anything else at all. So it's really quite unnecessary. Just that single moment of realizing, oops, I made a mistake, that's enough. And move on. Because that particular second of drama is gone and you will not see it again for another 5,000 years. So don't try and get back to it, because time goes forwards, not backwards. And let it be whatever it is. And if somebody doesn't like what you did, move on anyway. It's like, it's their problem. You just keep going, because these worries and concerns drain our energy and they really don't do anything else. So honor yourself, love yourself, care for yourself by letting go your mistakes. Say to yourself, oops, yep, won't do that again. And do your best to not do it again. And if you do, let it go again and keep going, and you will get it right. It's no problem. You'll be fine. The thing that's not good is, oh, you know, I'm a bad BK, maybe I'm a Silver Age soul, maybe, you know, I'm the, 109th or 16,109 or 9 billion, God knows what, on the rosary. This is a waste of time to think like that. It doesn't have any meaning. Give yourself meaningful things to think about. Love yourself, honor yourself. See yourself as Baba sees you, not as the, those kinds of religions which are sort of Bible bashers and this sort of thing that you will roast in hell. Oh, I already roasted in hell. I'm on my way to heaven. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, Let's go. And don't get held up by those silly things, because they don't have any meaning, And take it easy, they say angels take themselves lightly, so take it easy. It's all right. Okay, so Gita Ben, thank you so much for inviting me, and Lisa and all of you. And I will take your sweet leave and see you again sometime. So let us finish with a few moments of Baba's remembrance and see each other again soon. Have a good rest of the evening. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister. Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Denise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we love you very much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Me too. Okay, so Om Shanti and
Om Shanti.
take
Om
care.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, Baba.
Bye-bye.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you, Denise Ben.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om
Wish we can
Shanti.
see you every day.